Okay, welcome to Menopause Month. I'm chatting with Jane McPhillips. Jane, do you want to just tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, hi Emily, thank you for having me on. So I am Jane McPhillips and I'm a hypnotherapist, and I work with perimenopausal women, helping them to sleep better, feel better in mood, think more clearly, and yeah, hopefully manage some stress and anxiety along the way too.
Sounds pretty good to me. So, Menopause Month, it's always open to everybody. What did you want to cover today?
Yeah, I was interested in a recent study that I was reading. So it was a study of over 4,000 women, and what it came up with was the kind of the top three symptoms that women were talking about experiencing. And I thought it would be interesting to chat about that a bit for a number of reasons. Is that I think there's still, even though there's a huge menopause movement now, and thankfully people like you and Sleepy Jean and everything about the Perimenopause Hub is starting to open up these discussions, which is amazing. But I still think there's so many women that don't know what's happening to them, that part of what they're experiencing is down to the changes in the hormones.
Yeah.
So from this study, it came out that the top three: changes in mood, 87% of women.
Yep,
Changes
guilty.
yeah, me too, me too. Changes in memory was 81%,
Yep,
and
guilty.
poor yeah, we can see a pattern here. A poor sleep, 80%.
Oh, hi. Yep, guilty.
Yeah, yeah. And the other end, so around 40%, maybe 41, 42, something like that, was hot flushes.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, because you stop and you ask Joe Bloggs in the street, what would be your association if somebody was talking about the menopause? Oh yeah, hot flushes. Yeah, most women experience hot flushes. And I know this isn't data across thousands of women, but it's 4,000 women, so it's a pretty big study. And I think we can take from that the things that we could be putting down to just day to day, oh, I'm feeling a bit groggy, my brain's just not switched on as much as it used to be, or today, or whatever, feeling really moody, not sleeping so much. I think women could be talking about that every single day. And I think bringing in the knowledge and the information about how hormones are actually influencing those three important factors of our lives, I think we need to talk about a little bit more, so that more women aren't suffering in silence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I know from personal experience at the start of all this joy, I mean, I was awake from probably 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. pretty much every night. I read so many books. Like, I joke about it now, but it wasn't funny at the time. It really wasn't. Um, I mean, my mood, how my partner is even still in my life, I don't know. I was horrible. I really was. And because I was too young and didn't have any hot flushes, it must have been stress or whatever. And it got, even though my periods were doing weird things and all sorts of other stuff was going on. And I know I'm not alone in experiencing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I really hear you. And similar experience myself. I mean, just this weekend, I have started, and I talk about this with my clients as well. I've been tracking for a couple of years now, and that makes a huge difference to me, because I can now understand more when I'm experiencing particularly difficulties in mood, in focus. And this weekend just gone was a pure example of that. It got to the point where I actually couldn't talk. I couldn't communicate to my family, because it was like I was just a shell of a human being. Now, 2 days previously, I was rocking it. I was working, I was, parenting, I was socializing. 2 days later, and I know it's because it was just before my period happening, I knew it was happening to me, but I couldn't change it.
No.
I couldn't change it because my hormones were dictating how things were going to be. So I was low in mood, I was low in energy. I was able to sleep, but the sleep wasn't particularly good quality. So I'd say that I was kind of hitting all three there. Brain fog was insane. I just couldn't get it together. Fast forward 2 days later, I'm like a different woman.
Yeah,
so the only thing that has changed has been my hormones. That's it.
And this is, you know, as you know, I love talking about tracking. I bleat on about it ad nauseum, but with good reason, because actually the more that we get to understand all of this, and yes, through peri things change and the pattern may be slightly less what's the word I want this case in point,
it's not so regular
kind of obvious than it might have been. But if we have our baseline and we know that 2 days out from the period we're pretty useless, and then day 5 of the cycle, taking the first day of the period as day 1, we start to become superwoman again, for example, that's so useful.
Yeah, exactly. And it made all the difference to me this weekend, because it meant that I listened to what my body was telling me. And I think a couple of years ago, I would have pushed through how I was feeling. I would have depleted my energy resources even further. I would have started snapping at people. I'd have turned that back in on myself, so that I was feeling bad about who I was as a human being because of it, and so on and so on. So I think just having that knowledge that, okay, this isn't who I am. This mood doesn't need to define who I am. I can take control of it by having the knowledge of what's happening. And then I can start to bring in what is helpful in those times. So for me, it was, I need to pause. And I'm a big advocate of the 4 P's of perimenopause that I bang on about. And one of them is pause. Because if we pause, then we can listen to our bodies. We can notice what is happening. And then we can make some decisions about, do I need to cram in all these things in today? Or can I shift those onto another day? What's essential for me today and what's not? Because I think those kind of decisions make a huge impact then on the mood for the next couple of days, let alone that day. You know, it's that energy is not infinite.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is, in a nutshell there, you have summed up what I think the essence of self-kindness is. And it's one of those things that people go, oh, just, treat yourself kindly, be kind to yourself, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's become misunderstood as being, oh, go and have a hot bath with some petals and listen to gentle music. And it's like, no, it's not as big as that. It's not as, it's just, okay, I can't do these things today. So the kindest thing I can do to myself today is do whatever I can do today.
Yeah, absolutely. But we almost need to give ourselves permission to be able to do that. And I think that's a huge battleground for women during this stage of life. I hear my friends talk about it. I hear clients talk about it, that we're still driven by these I shoulds, I have to achieve, about defining who we are. And I think if we can take the time out, and it does require taking time out, I'll be honest, it does require work, doesn't it? About looking at ourselves and what other things that I do actually need from today, this week, this month, that actually starting to listen to and notice what those things are, we can start to just adapt our lives just a little bit. It doesn't need to be enormous changes.
No.
But this time of life is the time of life that we almost have to, otherwise we're going to suffer further down the line.
And I think exactly what you said, just getting rid of the shoulds, because a should never comes from internal. Oh, I should do this and I should do that. It's all external stuff. And when you're feeling low or depleted, or your sleep's been poor, you don't have time for other people's things. You've got time for your own things. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And okay, I totally get there's going to be some people watching this going, I haven't got the choice to want to. I've got to run around and sort the kids and whatever. Yeah, that's fine. But that's not a should. That's still not an external thing of somebody saying you should collect your kids from school. That's an I will. That's an I absolutely I will go and collect kids from school. But then there might be attached to that, oh, I should go and, I don't know, volunteer for the PTA, or I should go and do something for the cake sale. Well, actually, if you've got, finite energy that day, all of those extraneous things, all those shoulds, they can just go.
Yeah. And it can be helpful to kind of tell yourself this is just for now.
Yeah.
Because I think part of acceptance of what's happening to your body is and I've learned this from the burnout that I had a couple of years ago, is that it's just saying to yourself, I can't do that just now. I might be able to go and entertain, socialize, be a part of whatever scene it is. It's going to require energy maybe next week, maybe next month. But right now, I haven't got it in me, and that's okay. But acknowledging and kind of using that language around it being temporary can be really useful for the brain accepting the now, because I think accepting the now is a huge process in itself. You know, you almost have to go through this kind of denial, anger. But why? But no, I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like this. But your body's just going no.
And then
body's saying no.
Yeah, no. And then there's the guilt of being lazy. I put that in inverted commas because none of us are being lazy if we're honouring what our body actually needs. I mean, I said just before we started recording, I was saying to you, I moved a load of furniture yesterday. With hindsight, moved too much. And what I really did as a really clever thing, not at all clever, was I did that during my period. So today I hurt all over and I've got period pains. Hurrah! What an idiot. Funnily enough, I'm not firing on all cylinders today, and that's okay. And you know, I will do what I need to get done today, but I won't be doing anything more than what I need to do today, because I'll only do it badly. And then it turns into beating yourself up because you did that thing badly, and so on and so on. So it still doesn't pay to push on through. I think the pushing on through, digging deep, that digging deep sentence, I think we need to remove totally from the dictionary. Like, let's just get rid of it. Digging deep, no. Digging deep and pushing through. Yeah, I agree. Like,
they're
actually,
really unhealthy sentences.
It's very, they're both a very masculine energy, aren't they? Of, well, we can always just push through. And actually, I think the feminine energy, certainly as we're going into perimenopause, and I'm not talking about this being us being all girly or anything like that, but the feminine energy is much more forgiving. It's much more tuning into what your body actually needs right now, rather than getting hung up on all the external stuff and trying to present as exactly the same person every day, because we aren't. Our hormones mean we aren't exactly the same every day.
Yeah, and that was totally what I experienced. Just in this period of 3 days, I felt like a different human being. And it's been really interesting because I'm doing lots and lots of project work on perimenopause at the moment for some things I'm doing, and it was actually really helpful for me as a practitioner to remind myself, you know, I've got to live and breathe this stuff. Don't just talk about it, live it, and then be able to say, actually, I have to train myself, because I'll be rattling on with old behavior patterns that says, no, but you need to do this and this. No, you've got to learn. But it does take practice, and I think that's the other thing that I'd like women out there to know, that this stuff doesn't come easy. It doesn't come easy to reject that image of what we should be doing, but that long list of jobs and chores and ideals to try and live up to. It does take practice to go, no, not today, just not today, maybe a few days from now, maybe not ever, maybe actually I'm actually going to just not do that thing anymore, or whatever it is. You know, it takes practice in order to be able to do that. So I think sometimes we can almost get hung up on thinking, oh, well, I'm no good at self-care either. Like, you know,
oh God, I'm a complete failure. I've let everyone down, and I'm being rubbish to myself as well.
Yeah, because I'm not doing yoga and meditation. You know, I'm not doing headstands every morning at 6 a.m. Equally, those things are not helpful messages to be sending out to as women. We are powerful as a unity when we come together at these difficult life stages. I really believe that, and part of it is so that we can break through all that kind of rhetoric about what we should be doing and what we want to, you know, what people are trying to sell us on social media and so on. This is a time for us to come together so that we can be real about what we need and who we are. And some of that's not going to be particularly pretty. Some of it's going to be a bit raw, some of it's going to be a bit messy. And I like this kind of thought around the power of the perimenopause. So there's a really nice hypnosis script that I use quite a lot, and it talks about, so it takes the client into a kind of really lovely tranquil place on a boat, where you're taken there by the wind on the sail, and then it gets to the point where the wind drops, and you're just lying silently on this boat, just there, just at peace, always knowing that there's an engine, there's a powerful engine there that you can use when you need to use it. And I feel like that's a really lovely analogy for us in perimenopause, because we've always got that engine running. We know as women that we can turn that engine on when we need to. But if we run it to the point where it's empty, we'll have nothing to give back to ourselves. So if we can take time out to just lay and be still, knowing that engine is there, actually that we are recharging that engine by being still, then it's not a giving in. It's a just, I'm just now going to be a bit still.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Jane. That's brilliant.
You're very welcome.